Please welcome a good friend, veteran Filipino TV broadcaster, Miss Korina Sanchez-Roxas, and our distinguished guest, the Group CEO of Airasia, Mr. Tan Sri Anthony, Tony Fernandes.
Thank you so much, RJ, and a pleasant good afternoon to everybody here today. Hello, Mr. Fernandes.
Hi,
My name is Korina.
my name's Tony.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
I've
too.
read up on you long before we had this session. And as we all know, we're all here today to talk about tourism
And Airasia.
and AirAsia. And whatever AirAsia wants, does AirAsia get? That's my question.
Not always.
Not
always,
all the time.
But we try hard to get what we want.
Okay, very good. And I suppose that what AirAsia wants is what's best for the Philippines?
Absolutely. What's best for people? What's best for creating jobs? What's best for creating sustainable tourism as well? So I think listening to the last panel, there is so much congruence in what they were saying and what we're trying to do at AirAsia.
How do you define sustainable tourism?
Well, I mean, I think the danger of tourism is, as you've seen, maybe what's happened in Boracay or some places, you bring in 1 million tourists, they don't really respect the areas properly. Some of the wrong jobs are created. Some of the kind of beautiful places are destroyed through lack of knowledge. And so what we've been trying to do at AirAsia is educate, work with the local communities so that we know what's sacred and what's important. And the education part is to make sure tourists don't spoil what's beautiful about the place or deface monuments, etc. So sustainable tourism is about making sure that the place lives on for generations and generations, and that tourism brings good, not bad. And tourism generally brings good. And I think
So it's a lot about preservation,
preservation,
and
I think,
development.
and the other part of sustainable tourism is to allow, we work with a lot of communities where incomes are down because people are going to the towns, etc. So we work with a lot of communities to create tourism projects, and some of them were up here on stage just now. So in Thailand, a lot of the hill tribes have lost a lot of people, so we help them rebuild their coffee business or their homestay business, etc. We do it a lot in the Philippines as well. So sustainable tourism is not just about the environment, but it's also about giving people a chance to live in their community and be self-sustaining.
Okay, so but before we go ahead, go farther than we have, maybe a lay of the land in your eyes. How is the Philippines doing as far as tourism is concerned? When I was active in news, the news was all about trying to get the arrivals higher. Have we gone higher in the last, say, 5 years?
Oh yeah, without doubt. I mean, it's quite amazing how many people are here that are interested in tourism, and that's a good start. But I've always said, if you go back to my all press statements, Philippines is an unpolished diamond. There is so much to see here. The people are amazing. The culture is huge, but it was a secret. No one really knew about the Philippines. And you have so many amazing islands. You have so much amazing culture. And so for AirAsia, finally that diamond is coming from the rough into a beautiful diamond. So tourism is on the boom here. We're having our best ever year at AirAsia. And I'm very, very optimistic on the future of tourism.
Do we have statistics there? Are we higher by a certain percentage? Are we hitting our targets?
I don't know. I have to ask the presidential spokesman.
Because all you know is that AirAsia is doing very well, right?
Yeah, but you can see it from the flights. You can see it from the number of people coming. You can just see it from Manila. How many new restaurants, shopping malls, how many new hotels have opened up. Every time I come here, there's a new hotel. So I don't know the numbers, but I can tell you as someone in the business, I think tourism is booming here.
So if it were the experience of, say, Airasia, what would be the main reasons a foreigner, a tourist, would come over as far as Airasia stats are concerned?
Yeah, meet people like you, the islands, the beaches.
Yeah, that's what they say about me. I'm a tourist destination in
There we
myself.
go. There we go.
So, okay, so do they come here for, say, diving? I'm a big diving fan, and I think diving should really be one of the main attractions of the Philippines.
Yeah.
Do they come here for the food? Do they come here for the beaches?
I think they come here for the beaches, the food, the culture. Obviously, there's some casinos now. There's a whole lot. I don't think there's one reason. You've mentioned diving. There's a lot of ecotourism. There is so much to see in the Philippines that I don't think there's one particular reason for coming to the Philippines.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about your wish list. So everybody has a wish list that they write to Santa every Christmas. So what does your wish list look like?
Oh, I want to buy Cebu Pacific.
I think you know something that I don't. I'm a little lost.
That's a joke. That's a joke. Okay. Before someone's calling Lance Go Kong Wei and saying that asshole Tony Fernandes.
I think he just entered the room.
No, my wish list is, look, I think a pretty common wish list. Airlines need airports, and I think NAIA needs to be a little bit better, which I think is Joey just mentioned some of the plans, and there's another airport being built, and I know Sangley is being talked about, etc. So there are some plans, and I hope that this time it really, there's so many plans I've heard, and it never comes to fruition. I think Clark, I've been waiting for this road, train service to Clark. I think Clark could be a massive airport for to fill those areas, including Manila. So infrastructure would be my big wish list from the Philippines, not just Manila, but I think other airports, the infrastructure is growing much quicker, other parts of the Philippines, but Manila has been one of the issues. That would be my main wish list, and probably my only wish list. I would hope, I think tourism, if I can be direct, I think the exit tax should not exist. I think airlines need passengers from overseas and also Filipinos to travel as well. And the exit tax is just something that will deter travel. And I think if you have an active Filipino tourists and lots of foreign tourists, then you're going to have more flights, more connectivity, etc. So I hope in years to come there won't be an exit tax for Filipinos when they leave Philippines for a holiday.
So I know that you're a very big proponent of open skies. So I was wondering, I know we're open skied with some of them, but who else should we be opening our skies to?
I think Philippines is generally pretty open. I would, compliment the government in that it has liberalized and allowed more competition. I think in the past it was very hard to get rights because one or two airlines controlled all of that. I think when I arrived at NAIA yesterday, I saw so many different airlines, and that's very encouraging. So I think open skies and competition is healthy in the Philippines, and I think that opening up has resulted in the explosion of tourism. By opening up competition, by allowing more airlines to come in, by giving people choice, tourism has blossomed in the Philippines. Philippines sits on the doorstep of China, Japan, and Korea. You could be in a minus 25 degrees in Seoul, and 3 hours down the road, you have some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. Palawan is probably the most beautiful place I've ever seen in my life. And so you're freezing in Seoul, and 3 hours you come to the most beautiful place in the world. So I think opening up the market, being liberal, has resulted in this, and I think the government's done a very good job in that aspect.
How can we do, say, having a hub, meaning like regional tourism? meaning Europeans coming to Southeast Asia and doing the rounds of all of the countries there, and thereby, in marketing, know more about the Philippines as much as they know about Singapore or Japan or Taiwan.
Yeah,
How
I
do we
mean-
do that?
Well, I mean, I think Philippine tourism is upping its game now. Obviously, ASEAN, the best country to market in ASEAN has been Thailand. And Thailand has been doing this for years and years and years, and they're very, very good at doing it. And then you've had Malaysia coming in, Singapore, Indonesia is now coming. Now, at Airasia, I treat ASEAN as one destination because I think within 3 hours of ASEAN, you have such diversity, so much to see. And so I've been a big proponent of ASEAN and ASEAN tourism and also creating tourism flows between ASEAN. The number of Thais and Malaysians and Indonesians coming to Philippines are at a record level because of connectivity that now exists. So I think, yes, Philippines will benefit from an ASEAN, being part of an ASEAN grouping and having connectivity, but Philippines also will benefit from promoting itself, which is what it's doing very effectively now. And I only see it going one way. I really do. I'm not saying that because I'm in the Philippines. I'm known to speak my mind. It generally gets me into trouble, but so I wouldn't say it just for the fact that I'm here.
I
Philippines
love trouble.
You love trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I have a lot of people here making sure I don't open my mouth in the
Okay.
wrong way.
But honesty is the best policy. So, honestly saying, what is, say, Singapore or Thailand doing that we're not? That we're not yet?
Well, the first thing I've said is airport connectivity. That needs to improve. For Philippines to really grow airport connectivity, I think you don't have an exit tax in Singapore or Thailand. In fact, Thailand is getting rid of visa fees. I want to bring up this term, frictionless travel. We should make it easy for people to move in and out of countries. Visas, to me, are a little bit out of date, right? With the data we have, I mean, people from their Facebook and their Viber accounts more about their lives. And so for 5% of people that you're worried about, you're making it hard for 95%. We should not have queues at passport. Immigration should be fast and quick. We have facial technology now that's available. You can pre-clear passengers. ASEAN should definitely have an ASEAN visa. They should be electronic. We shouldn't have people having to go to embassies to get a visa, if you want a visa. I'm saying make it easy to come, and for people that you're worried about, then make them get a visa. But for the majority of people, you should make it easy, get rid of queues, have good infrastructure to get from the airport to wherever you're going, and make tourism easy. Make people want to come to your country. But when you arrive at an airport and you're queuing for 2 hours, that puts you off a little bit. When you have to pay a huge amount of fees for visas, when you have to go and queue at a consulate. So I've introduced this term about frictionless tourism. Let's make it easy, and let's make ASEAN and Philippines welcoming to tourists.
So, how exactly should we be selling the Philippines? You think it will be easier to sell the Philippines on its own or sell the Philippines along with all the other regional neighbors?
I think you do both. We have done it, where we say, obviously Thailand is so far ahead of everyone. Bangkok is a very known destination. And then when we're in Thailand, we obviously promote our Bangkok-Manila flight. And we obviously, data now is fantastic. We can personalize our data, we can personalize promotions. We can see someone going to Thailand or Bali every year, and we say, hey, try Cebu or try Palawan. So it's marketing. But I think Philippines, and that's the beauty of ASEAN, every country is very different. The strength of Philippines is the people. You guys are so friendly and generally, very welcoming to everybody, except when you're a rival airline. My airlines don't like me so much. But generally, the Filipinos are really very warm.
I want to do a follow-up on that punchline, but maybe not, right?
Okay.
maybe not here. So, okay. So, what about globally? Who exactly is our market?
Everybody.
Everyone.
Well, why can't, you don't have to have, I mean, I've always said at Airasia, everyone's our market. You know, billionaires fly us, people with less money fly us, you know, everyone flies us. And everyone can love the Philippines. I think there's an immediate market where many ASEAN countries have missed out. ASEAN has 700 million people. And Airasia grew because I believed in ASEAN. And you know, we started 18 years ago with 2 planes. Today we have 250 planes. We're the 4th largest airline in Asia. Only Air China, China Southern, and China Eastern are bigger than us. And that's because they have a slight advantage, 1.3 billion people in their country. And Airasia this year will carry 100 million people. Most of them are from ASEAN. And we've created destinations and routes that were never there before. And more people in ASEAN are flying. So I think a big market for Philippines, everyone thinks about the Europeans and, you know, Americans, etc. But a big market is just ASEAN itself. And then you've got obviously China, India, and Japan and Korea. As I said, I think the logical markets for me are ASEAN and China, Japan, Korea. Those are easy.
Mainly because of the climate, because of the
Climate,
temperature.
the distance, and you know, I just think it's a no-brainer. It's low-hanging fruit.
Okay. So, government is in our presence, and if you were to make an appeal for anything in particular, what would it be?
No, I mean, I've said it. I mean, I hope that airports are a focus, and I think they are. And I hope land transportation from airports and to airports. So, I mean, if you look at Malaysia, our airport is very far away. It's very big. It works. We don't always agree with them. But the cost of getting to the airport is almost as much as our airfare. You know, it's cheaper to fly with us to Penang than take the train. And so you got to get all the bits and pieces. People don't just fly and look at Airasia's ticket price. They look at the hotel price. They look at the infrastructure. They look at airport tax. And I think there's a big advantage. Philippines, I know, is looking at Clark to be a low-cost airport. Governments haven't realized that there's a difference between full service and premium. My airline is very different from Singapore Airlines. It serves a very different type of consumer. And they don't require what a business class or a first class passenger requires. So I think Philippines has a big opportunity to build simple, quick, low-cost airports that allow airlines to reduce their cost and hence reduce their airfares and stimulate people. If you're sitting somewhere and you never thought of going to the Philippines, let's say in China somewhere, and you open the newspaper and you can fly there for 20 renminbi, you're going to try. And then once you go there and you have a fantastic experience, you're going to tell hundreds of thousands of people. Word of mouth is still the best form of promotion. And word of mouth now is even stronger because of social media. When someone posts a picture on Instagram, hundreds of thousands of people could see it, and Facebook. So I still think that one of the big upsides for the Philippines, and I forgot that in my wish list, is that the Philippine government builds low-cost airports and low-cost terminals so that all these airlines, there's so many low-cost airlines, and they're generally named after animals. You know, you have lions and tigers, and you know, in Malaysia we have one named after an insect called firefly. It's a really dumb name because firefly is the shortest living insect in the insect kingdom. But, you know, there are so many of these low-cost airlines, yet governments haven't addressed what low-cost airlines need in their infrastructure. They build us one type of airport. So you're having an airport that looks after a passenger from first class on Singapore Airlines, where that passenger almost has a room, to someone who flies on a budget airline where the experience is very different. So my whole appeal to ASEAN governments is to build airport facilities, one for premium airlines and one for low-cost airlines.
Okay. So that sounds like a window to my next question, which is opportunities. Considering everything that's going on politically, economically, worldwide, what are the threats and what are the opportunities right now for tourism and the airline industry in the Philippines?
Well, I mean, I think that, well, threats. Nationalism is a threat. When you hear what Donald Trump is saying, and some of the European governments are becoming much more right-wing and less hospitable to certain parts of the world, I think that regional tourism is an opportunity. I think it's a huge opportunity for the Philippines. If you were to look at the statistics, how many Malaysians are coming to the Philippines, how many Indonesians are coming to the Philippines, how many Thais are coming to the Philippines, that's a massive opportunity, right? Take aside the population of the Philippines, that's over 500 million people. So I think that's an opportunity because travel, short travel is easy. You can come to the Philippines for a weekend and go back from anywhere in ASEAN. So I think that's an opportunity. And I do think that because of connectivity to the west coast of America, Philippines has a potential to be a hub for Americans coming through. Right now, I think Japan is a big hub for Americans coming to Asia. But Philippines has a huge opportunity to be a hub for west coast of America because you could break your journey. You take a 12-hour flight. You could break your journey and have a few days in the Philippines before you go on to Singapore or Thailand or wherever. I think that's an opportunity, and certainly, you know, we think at Airasia that that's a potential for us to develop as well. Philippines can certainly be a hub for the Biamaga area, for ASEAN, and even for North Asia.
What about misconceptions about the Philippines? Do you think that's still a deterrent for people to come over?
What are the misconceptions?
I'm not so sure. I'm scared to say it out loud.
Oh, why?
Because Sal Panelo is over here.
You said you like.
I'm not sure if I should say
You
it.
said you like getting in trouble.
I know. Let's just talk between the two of us later behind the curtains.
She only talks big. Too scared to say.
I know how
No,
to
I don't
play
think there are any.
it.
No misconceptions. Tourists are tourists. Are less people going to America? No, I don't think so. Because politics is politics, misconception. I think Philippines is really welcoming. I think the government's done a great job in opening up the country. So I think it's okay.
Okay. So we can entertain some questions if there are questions from the floor. Because, okay.
Who are those two people sitting on that table? They look like.
This is Miss Universe.
Oh, hello, Miss Universe.
Davao. And this is Miss International.
Oh, hi. Why are you sitting up there?
Patricia Garcia is from St. Paul University in Manila, BS Tourism student. Go ahead, Patricia.
Yeah. So, hello po, good afternoon. So, I wanted to be a pilot. So, we all know that there is a gender bias when it comes to become a pilot. So, my question is, what are my chances to become a successful lady pilot as just like to be a successful man pilot, because there's a gender bias, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me tell you a couple of stories. First of all, you can apply to us today. No
I'll take my
problem.
chances.
I will give you my business card. When I started at Airasia, there were no female pilots. And I went up to my chief pilot and I said, why are there no female pilots? And he came up with the most ridiculous answer that can be never repeated in public. Today, we have 300 female pilots. And we're the largest as a percentage of any airline in the world. And the other day was history. Captain was female, co-pilot was female, all the cabin crew was female, the engineer on the ground was female, the guest service was female, and all the passengers were male. No, that bit's not true. So I think there was. I have a Miss Thailand flying for me. She came up to me in a bar one day when I was having orange juice and said, I want to be a pilot. And I said, go for it. And she was super smart. She got in. She then called me up like a year later and said, everyone says I'm really beautiful. Can I take part in Miss Thailand? I said, sure. Provided if you win, I get to use your photograph for the rest of your life for free. So she won Miss Thailand. She came 5th in Miss Universe. Now she's back in Airasia and she's a captain. So we're the only airline in the world with a Miss Thailand flying for them. Okay? Beat that, Singapore Airlines. They've only got Singapore Girl. I've got Miss Thailand. So, no, seriously, after this, get my card and you can apply. We have many, many female pilots in Philippines, Airasia. And for me, it's nonsensical. You're 50% of the population. I couldn't have grown without amazing women in our company. So, no gender bias in Airasia.
So, Rosana Tuason Flores wants to ask a question on connectivity.
Hi, Mr. Fernandes. Good afternoon. You're being an entrepreneur. We talked about gateways and connectivity and airports. The Philippines has over 7,000 islands. I think the government hasn't put enough attention on seaports as a gateway. What would you suggest to the Philippine government on how to grow the seaports?
Yeah, that's really a very timely question. One of my best friends owns a huge cruise line, and he wants to start a budget cruise with me. And I went, oh wow, I have enough headaches with planes. You want me to get into ships? But we'd call it Cruise Asia. And we were looking at the Philippines, and there's an enormous potential to develop cruising and seaport connectivity. So I think, yes, you're a natural seafaring country anyway. I think that's a logical extension to the airport story, that there's a huge cruise opportunity and a huge ferry opportunity in the Philippines. I'm not an expert, but I definitely feel there's an opportunity there.
Thank you.
Okay, wow, thank you so much for the questions from the floor. So, if you were to leave a message, like a general headline for the Philippines and where, vis-a-vis where we are now and what the potential is moving forward, what would that be, Mr.
Well, just
Yes.
2 words. Support AirAsia. No, I'm only
Businessman
joking.
first.
I'm only joking. I heard there was a promotion just now, but I can't, to answer your question seriously, we've kind of said it already in terms of airport connectivity, get rid of unnecessary charges like exit tax, build low-cost infrastructure, make Philippines an easy country to enter through the use of technology. I think there's a real advantage because Philippines is upgrading a lot of facilities. If it upgrades its immigration facility so that you can just walk through with your face, having gone through a pre-clearance, you're just going to make Philippines much more welcoming. Improve ground connectivity, so that it's easy to get around. I think those are all things. Hotels, tourism attractions, that's already in your nature anyway. So, I think you're all heading in the right direction. Infrastructure being the main one, an opportunity to develop ASEAN tourism, an opportunity to leapfrog other countries by making it easier to come to the Philippines. And I think the rest entrepreneurs will drive it. It's great to see so much support for SMEs. SMEs really will help drive tourism through homestay, through the chocolate guy was fantastic, right? As you can see from my body, I like chocolate. And it's changing though, it's changing. My body is changing for the better size. And it's great, and tourism is inclusive. And really, it is the best industry. It really includes everybody in there. And so government should really support tourism because it's very, very inclusive. Can I be a little bit different? Because I heard a lot of airlines doing promotions.
You mean you haven't been promoting yet?
No, not at all. I want to give a free ticket.
Okay, we have enough.
Who wants a free ticket? Okay, whoever runs up to this stage first with something red gets a free ticket. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Oh, wow. Stop. Too late.
We
Sorry.
have a red cell phone.
Okay. Red cell phone. All right. You get a free ticket. Where do you want to go?
Wow! Daya.
Just checking he's not working for Cebu Pacific. Who do you work for?
I represent the Philippine Marketing Association.
Okay, cool. So where do you want to fly? Quick. Hong Kong.
What?
Okay, you can fly to Hong Kong. Okay. Are you married? Not married? You want to take any girl here? Maybe. You got to decide now. It's all about decisions. Look around and see if there's who wants to go with him to Hong Kong? Go and pick, quick. No, Mum won't allow him. Okay, take your phone. Go be boring alone in Hong Kong. Have a good time. Ma'am, where would you like to go?
Japan.
Japan.
Yeah.
Where in Japan?
Tokyo and Haneda.
No. See, true Filipino. I gave her one choice, she added two. You can only go one. Where? Tokyo or Osaka? Tokyo, okay. You married?
I'm a single mom.
You're a single mom, you can take your child with you. Okay? How come you got an Airasia cap?
I buy from my coworker.
You bought it. Wow. How many children you have? One only. Since you bought a cap, you can take two. Take one of her friends. Okay? What's your name?
Cat Frias.
And where do you work?
Pal Express.
Pal Express. I love it. I gave a free ticket to someone who works for Philippine Airlines. And she's wearing an Airasia cap. Where would you like to go, ma'am? Hold on, who do you work for first?
I'm an independent designer.
Okay, even better. Where?
I just took AirAsia to go to Calibo, and then I caught a ferry last night to make it to the summit.
Oh, I love you. Okay, so where do you want to go?
I want to go to Australia. Because my...
Wow, this is an expensive conference.
Okay, if not,
I love it, Philippines.
Indonesia's okay.
Okay, no, Australia's fine.
Yeah, because my sister is there in Sydney.
I don't care about your sister.
Okay.
Where do you want to go?
Sydney.
Sydney, okay, you can go to Sydney. Okay. All right, go and sit down. But you stay. AirAsia photographer, can you take a picture? Okay, and if you get fired, then you can come work in AirAsia. Okay, bye. Can we have a photo? Yeah.
I have to say thank you, Tony. Sorry, Mr. Fernandes. Because you might not know it, but we have asked for so many tickets for all our charitable projects from AirAsia. So
cool.
thank you so much.
Pleasure.
You might not know it, but AirAsia brought in 20 cancer-stricken children to their very first beach resort and their very first plane ride.
No, I know that.
So
Desi took me to meet the senator.
Thank you
who
so
did that.
much. So we have one last question from Mr. Ralph Ian Calaranan from Mariano Marcos University.
Sir, I want to go into a tourism business and you are a serial entrepreneur. What can you suggest as a career path, become a flight attendant and also as a serial entrepreneur?
Sorry, the screaming put me off. What was the...
What
and
can
they were
you
all women as well. Looks like I'm staying tonight in Manila. What was the question? What do I advise you to do in tourism?
what can you suggest as a career path? Become a flight attendant and also as a serial entrepreneur, sir.
So,
He would like to know what it takes to be a flight
Flight attendant.
attendant
okay.
and a...
And also serial entrepreneur.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
yun.
Those are
Okay.
pretty different questions. Flight attendant, well, you're a good-looking guy. You sound good. That's about it, you know. Of course, actually, I don't know. But
You shouldn't spill coffee on the passengers.
yeah, I mean that's
balance. You have to have balance.
That's fairly obvious. You got to be a certain height so you can reach the bin. I really don't know, but you look good and you sound good, so I'll give you my card next to the pilot. Okay, and what do I recommend? What do you have to be a serial entrepreneur? I think you got to be a little bit mad. You got to be a little bit brave. I came from the music business, right? I knew nothing about planes. I was promoting Side A Band, Barbie's Cradle, Filipino music, Leo Salonga. I knew nothing about planes, but I knew it was a good idea. If I could make people fly cheaper than PAL Express, many people would fly on us, right? And we could open up the market. Joey's never going to invite me back again. Too late. You got 4 minutes and 17 seconds of me. So, but I think the most important thing is passion. You got to believe in what you want to do. And too many of us Asians listen to our mother, grandmother, grandfather, friends, and we're too afraid to fail. And all I can say is life is short. And you don't want to sit there at 55 and say, I wish I did it. So if you have an idea and you want to do it, just do it. And if you fail, you fail. So what? At least you tried, you know? Follow your heart, follow your passion. You live in a great country where so many exciting things are happening. Filipinos are naturally born entrepreneurs anyway. And so just do it. And good luck, either as a cabin crew or as an entrepreneur. But don't be an entrepreneur as a cabin crew in Airasia. Okay? Good luck. But see me afterwards, both of you, and I'll pass you my card and try and make your dreams come true.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tony Fernandes of Airasia. Thank you so much, sir.